Hey, what's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Yun back with you again. Welcome to Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is a podcast. If you're new here, we talk about alternative health outside of the fitness and nutrition realm, but we still talk about that stuff. Mitochondria, circadian rhythm, all that stuff. So, this is going to be episode number 77, and this was something that popped up on my memories that I just reposted today, but it was something that I wrote in 2019, and it was basically 34 things that I have learned since starting the Jack Kruse mitochondriac kind of stuff. So it was about 7 months into my journey, and I wrote it while I was in the hospital with my son, who was just born in April of 2019. Which was one thing that I have since learned how bad it is to have your children in hospitals and whatnot, but you've got to do what you got to do. So if you can't get out of that situation, then you've got to have you just got to do what you got to do. So we did not vaccinate. Unfortunately, I did give him the vitamin K shot, which I have since learned is not something that you want to do. So no shots for the kids if you want their kids to be healthy and whatnot. But other than that, once we get into that, I'll talk more about that. But it's summertime. It's June 22nd as I'm recording this. So summer started 2 days ago, and we are currently in a heat wave here in Ohio. And if you're watching the video version of this, you can see I got a couple new shades of melanin on me. So I think I made over 250,000 IU of vitamin D in the last 7 days. Well, that's just what the app says. But when you are in the sun, you will make the sun will make vitamin D up to a point, and then once it feels that you don't, or your body knows that it doesn't need it, you won't make any more. So, but I mean, there's still benefits to being outside, obviously, which I've talked about and probably will go over in this episode. So it'll probably be one of the 34 tips. Okay. But if you are new here to Improvement Warrior Podcasts, make sure you are on the newsletter. That's why I send everything out. improvementwarriorfitness.com/NL. And if you want to start on your journey to becoming better, if you have not downloaded my 17-step guidebook, that is the Mitochondriac Improvement Warrior Guidebook, improvementwarriorfitness.com/mitochondriac.
Like this. Can I use this?
Yes, but you gotta turn it to red. Okay. So check that out. And the only sponsor for today is Midwestern Light Therapy. So I am wearing the yellow blue blockers, even though I have the iris on the screen. Never can be too sure. So Midwestern, they've got the blue blockers, they've got the red light therapy, they've got the motion lights, they've got pretty much everything. They've got the strip lights. It's awesome. Check them out. Best value blue blockers, in my opinion, and it's the pair that I wear 95% of the time. improvementwarriorfitness.com/Midwestern. Use code IMPROVEMENTWARRIOR. All one word, all lowercase as well. Okay, but let's get into the podcast here. So again, this is Improvement Warrior Podcast, episode number 77. 34 tips of things that I didn't know before 2018. So, and these are in no particular order. They just are as I wrote them. And so I recently started talking a lot more about the stuff that is mentioned. And the main reason is because I never actually talk about things that I do not recommend. I don't talk about or recommend things that I haven't done myself or researched myself. So that's one thing you will always get from me. Yeah, so I try to keep my standards high because I've been lied to in the past, and I don't want to lie to myself in the past, and I don't want to lie to my clients, members, listeners, and whatnot. And I know that I have in the past, and that's because I thought what I was telling my clients and people was the truth, but it wasn't the truth, as I have learned. Now, um, I don't care if you believe any of this information or not. The information is out there. And the thing is that I have been doing this stuff since 2018. And so it's the ultimate uh, mito hack, so to speak. Okay. Number one, nature is the healer of all diseases. So most diseases can be reversed or at least alleviated greatly. However, not all people are curable due to a crappy mindset. And most people take on the disease that they are. So, in order for them to reverse that, they are going to have to dig deep into their soul and pull the demons out. Otherwise, they will not change at all. Number two, circadian biology is the most important aspect of your health. Okay, but doing circadian biology and doing all the stuff that I recommend with the crappy mindset will not take you the furthest that you can. So everything ties in to a healthy and positive mindset, a go-getter mindset, a 10x mindset. So be obsessed with your health, okay? Because once it goes, then we're going to be you're up shit's creek, so to speak. And more stuff are coming, so you have to be obsessed with your health. You can't just be willy-nilly doing this or doing that, one off here. Everything's got to be as consistent as possible because there's people, there's corporations, there's Bill Gates, there's Fauci's who are trying to kill us. Number three, the most important thing to do every day is to see the sunrise with as little clothing on as possible. Obviously, naked eyes, no sunglasses, no contacts, and eyeglasses, pull them down or take them completely off when you are staring at that sunrise. Okay. And that is the number one thing that you can do to reset your circadian biology. Okay. Suprachiasmatic nucleus is the master circadian clock, sits right behind your retina. That's why covering the eyes is bad. And anything that alters the frequency is bad. And that's why you want to have your skin in the game. Number four, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It is like the engine of your car. If your engine is broke, doesn't matter if you use premium fuel, aka fuel food. No, it does not. Okay. Number five, all food gets turned into electrons to be moved across the mitochondria's cytochromes 1 through 5 to ultimately reduce to oxygen. Okay, oxygen is our number one thing. If you cannot breathe properly, then bad things are going to happen to you. So I have recently been talking more and more about oral health, oral posture, jaw, tongue, that kind of stuff. And also today I just got into forward head or forward neck syndrome or straight neck syndrome. So it's where the neck drives forward because we're supposed to have certain curves throughout our spine. And if those curves get pushed too far or the curves go away, then we're going to have issues with our spine. And that means you're going to have issues with your breathing. It's going to mean you're going to have issues with your face, your tongue, your nose, and all the way down to your feet. So breathing affects everything. If you have not watched my breath webinar, highly recommended. I think it is Improvement Warrior Podcast number 12, but it's also on my YouTube channel. And it's also in Improvement Warrior University, the Facebook group, which is free. IWUFB. It's all about the breathing. You don't breathe right, nothing in you would be right. So you could put breath number one as your number one pillar, or you could put mindset as your number one pillar. Okay, but everything is interconnected and you have to focus. You have to eventually build everything up so you are awesome in all these areas. But it's just one step at a time. Don't add 17 things and think you're going to do it. I think you're going to stick to it. One thing at a time, master that, then move on. Number 6, your mitochondria health will determine your energy and the disease that you eventually get, or if you get a disease or not. Okay? Mitochondria needs to feel the magnetic field of Earth. It needs to feel the temperature. There's number 1 and number 2 Zeitgebers are light and temperature. Okay? Light and temperature. So again, it is a heat wave here. We're in the 90s, 92, 93 today, 94, 95 tomorrow, and Tuesday and Wednesday, with the heat index getting up to 103. Okay, but I was out I've probably been out 6 or 7 hours already. 7, most diseases, 85% plus is what Dr. Doug Wallace says, are of our mitochondrial DNA and not our nuclear DNA, our genetics, our genes. Jack Kruse says it is closer to 95 to 99%. And even if you do truly have a genetic disease, it means your mitochondria is messed up. If you focus on fixing your mitochondria, your genetic disease will start to dissipate. And some genetic diseases can be reversed, or the symptoms can be greatly alleviated. Okay, but not every person can be fixed because they identify with their disease. Don't identify with your disease. Identify with being the strongest version of you, being the best version of you. Number 8, you can never get healthy in the same environment you got sick in. Okay, so you've got to figure out what environments got you sick. Your zip code is more important than your genetic code. So if you live in New York City, in Manhattan, in a high-rise apartment building, and you got sick, you're not going to fix yourself there, and you're probably not going to fix yourself in a house in New York City, I don't think there's houses in downtown New York City, but you know what I'm trying to say. You need to get out of the EMF hellhole. EMF and light is going to be your number 1 environment that you should be focusing on and should be fixing first and foremost, and then you can fix other things from there. And remember, if you need help, email me, text me, DM me, and I will find the best way to help you. Number 9, standing barefoot in the grass, sand, sidewalk, aka grounding, is like your personal cell phone charger. It's even better if the sun is out. If you are not connected to the earth, you will run out of energy. What do you call a human with no energy? You call it a cadaver. Okay? So grounding, one of the most important things that you can do. It is all about the electron and the electron interacting with the photon, which is the photoelectric effect. And if that doesn't happen, then you get inflamed, and then you eventually get a disease, and that'll take you out if you're not fixed. 10, you have to read, listen to, or watch information that is higher than your current level. So you want to always be leveling up to the next level. Episode 76, I went over my key takeaways from my mastermind meeting in Louisville, Kentucky. So always trying to get out of your comfort zone, always trying to level up your information, as long as the information is coming from proper sources and correct sources. Okay, because there's a lot of people out there who are trying to sell you half truths. I listened to them for far too long. 11, if you are addicted to technology, then you have low dopamine levels. It is harder for you to think with an open mind and shut off your current beliefs, even if the truth is smacking you right in the face. And this also makes it harder to do number 10, which is level up to the next level. Okay. Dopamine webinar. If you have not watched it, improvementwarriorfitness.com/dopamine. It's one of my premium webinars. you can check that out there, but it's for the survival of our species. So many phone addicts and whatnot. So airplane mode is your friend. Red filter on your phone is your friend. ImprovementWarriorFitness.com/red phone will show you how to put the red filter on your phone if you do not have one, but you should have one. Okay. Number 12, non-native EMF, electromagnetic fields, is the root cause behind every single disease that you know and the ones you've never heard of. Okay, so in my root cause of autism and autoimmunity, I go into greater depth about the mechanism and what happens when that happens. So that's improvementwarriorfitness.com/autism, or it's episode number 15. Number 13, blue light is the biggest non-native EMF that we have. So obviously this was written in 2019. 5G, once it arrives, will be bigger. Unfortunately, some cities are already dealing with this: Austin, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, most of California, Indy, Jacksonville, Louisville, New York City, Panama City, to name a few. Okay, so but the thing with 5G is you can move, or you can protect yourself, or try to mitigate as much as you can. And you can also do the same with light. So your lights do not have to be blue lights emitting at 24/7 around the clock and destroying your mitochondria and destroying your sleep and whatnot. ImprovementWarriorFitness.com/blue blockers gives you everything that I recommend in regards to light. Number 14, all things that plug into the power grid are non-native EMF. So Wi-Fi, microwaves, TV, okay, all that stuff, those are non-native EMFs, and you need to mitigate that stuff as much as you possibly can. Okay. 15, your light environment is more important than the food and exercise that you eat. Okay. So I made a video a while ago talking about what was it, 48% versus 10%, 45%, 45 to 48% versus 10%. So in our brain, we have 8 lobes, and I believe we have one of the lobes, I actually forget which one it was, but it connects directly to light, and then there's indirect connections that add up to 48% of our brain is wired for light, versus only 10% of our brain. So I think it's only 2% that directly wires to food, and then there's that other 8% that indirectly wires to food. So quite a big difference, but everything, all food is broken down to electrons, and electrons can only interact with photons. So when you do eat, all food gets broken down to electrons. So you are basically eating light. Okay. Number 16, nothing beats sunlight in terms of light. Okay. So anybody who is claiming that they have the next greatest thing, red light therapy panels, UV lights, all that stuff, it doesn't compare to the sun. Okay. So my red light panel, I have 2 red light panels. One of them has 4 frequencies in it. The other one has 2 frequencies in it. Sunlight has, I forget the number. It's 30. It starts with an 8, and then 8 to the 31 or the 34th power. So you've got a number 8 at the beginning, and then either 31 or 34 numbers after that. Okay, that's the different frequencies, and that's just in from 250 to I think 760 nanometers, and the sun goes all the way up to 3100 nanometers. So yeah, you can't beat light. Don't think that red light panels, or don't let anybody tell you that red light panels are better than the sun, because they're not. Okay. I still use red light panels pretty much every single day, but I get way more sunlight. So yeah. But red light therapy is really, really good if you have like an injury or an acute injury and you need to get rid of that pain. Because for like 7 to 9 months, I couldn't squat or do any lunges with significant weight. And within 7 days of really strict red light on that area, I was able to do it. Okay. But it's all in context. Okay. But nothing beats the sun. Nothing. Nothing. 17. All disease starts in the eye, and all health starts in the eye. So, again, master's clock, suprachiasmatic nucleus is right behind the retina. And yeah, well, the retina is actually part of the brain, but the pathway is through the eye. That's why blocking the eye is bad. If your eye health is declining, that means your brain health is declining, and that means everything is declining because everything runs through the brain. 18. The eye is both a camera, we see with it, and a clock. Our suprachiasmatic nucleus runs all the programs in our body. So we run approximately 100,000 biological programs in every single cell, every single second. Massive number. Quantum biology right there. Number 19, your SCN, the eye clock, needs to know what time it is. So if you live an indoor life all day, you are destroying your SCN, you're destroying your clock. Okay, you don't know what time it is, and you're destroying your circadian biology. Number 20, blocking blue light at night whenever the sun goes down is not optional anymore. So if you have not changed your lights, blue blockers. Okay, we've changed our lights here, but I still wear the red blue blockers at night. I don't take any chances. And if you're out during the day, going to like grocery stores, doing your out for errands and whatnot, and you run into stores that have that, I recommend putting it on, or putting the blue blockers on because it is super important because that light, unopposed blue light equates to anywhere between, well, it depends on the frequency, but most common ones run between 12 to 1 p.m. Is the signal that they're giving your brain. So it's basically like just taking a clock or taking your phone and just resetting your clock to whatever, to like 12 to 1 p.m. So if it's like in the morning, it goes forward. In the evening, it goes backwards. Okay. And it takes time to recover. Okay. Not to mention what it does to the skin, what it does to the brain, all that stuff. Number 21, blocking the blue light during the day. Oh, well, there's number 21. I was just talking about that. Blocking the blue light during the day is not optional, especially if you are under blue lights or on technology. And especially if you work under blue lights all day. Okay. Highly recommend getting the yellow blue blockers at least. Okay. If it was me, I would be wearing red. If I had to work under that stuff, and I would be fully clothed. So full long sleeves, long pants, neck gaiter to protect the thyroid. Thyroid after the eyes, number one place to protect. Okay. 22. DHA is the foundation of health. Seafood, therefore, is the optimal choice for your dietary protein. The better the source of the DHA, the better. The smaller the fish or seafood, the better. Larger species tend to have more toxicity issues like mercury. Okay, but since I have since learned that melanin is one of the best things for chelation of heavy toxic metals and toxins. If you are a vegetarian, you need to become a pesco vegetarian, which is a fish vegetarian. And if you are vegan, you need to become a pesco vegetarian. Read Rob Wolf's Paleo Solution for the reason why. I don't recommend that book anymore. But yeah, can't be vegan in this day and age. Algae pills do not convert into the DHA form that we need to get into the brain and central nervous system. It needs to be in the SN2 position. And that's why I don't recommend fish oil anymore. And PUFAs are very toxic, basically. So the toxicity of, well, in saturated fat, there's 0 positions that oxygen can actually enter in. Monounsaturated, there's 1 position it can enter in. And PUFA, polyunsaturated fats, there is 2 positions it can enter. And then omega-3s, there's actually 3 positions. So omega-3s are actually more unstable than regular PUFAs. Okay, so that's why if you're getting PUFAs, hey, if you're getting PUFAs, price is a good indicator of where it is. But you want it cold, you want it shipped in ice, you want it in a dark bottle. I cover all this in the 3 supplements guide. So improvementwarriorfitness.com/3sups. So you can check that out if you want to. I also go over vitamin D, multivitamins, magnesium, iodine. Okay. I go over the 3 supplements that I used to recommend to everybody, and now I don't recommend those, and the 3 supplements that I do recommend. Okay. Number 23, you will find the greatest population of seafood in the coldest waters and the least populated in the warmest waters. DHA will also be higher in colder waters. And I believe the one exception of that is the Gulf of Mexico, because that was where the meteorite hit that killed the dinosaurs. And so the magnetic field there is just like super, super, super high. Okay. But cold water fish is the best, and raw is the best if you can tolerate that. But because cooking does denature the protein, denatures the DHA, but you're still getting a benefit from eating it. Number 24, you need a tech diet even more than you do a nutritional one. Like I've always said, your cell phone is the biggest detriment to your health and the things that connect to it. Cell phones, Unknown Death Causers, Part 3, Cell Phones and Wireless Tech was episode number 54. improvementwarriorfitness.com/UDC3. Okay. That's the most heavily researched one I did. And if you still know somebody who is doing all the modern human things, putting their phone on their head, wearing AirPods, putting their phone in their pocket, not on airplane mode, putting it in their bra, okay, send it to them. Hopefully they'll listen. We got to wake these people up because I mean, there's zombies everywhere. Number 25, we are electric. We are semiconductors. Inside each of our cells, we create a voltage charge of about 350 volts. I don't think that's right. I think it's negative. I forget what it is. I think it's negative 40 millivolts is what it is. That sounds right. Don't quote me on that. But I think it's negative 40 megavolts or millivolts. And because of the cell's size, that is the equivalent of a bolt of lightning inside of each of our mitochondria. Okay, so that's when your cells and your mitochondria are humming at the right speed and whatnot. So mitochondria their RPMs, they can spin up to 9,000 RPMs, so revolutions per minute. And that's the same as a Ferrari engine. But a Ferrari engine can't maintain that. Okay? You, on the other hand, can if your circadian mechanism is intact. 26, the greatest detriment of health is the geometry of your respiratory proteins inside your mitochondria. The further your respiratory proteins get stretched out, the worse it is for you. So that is the percent heteroplasmy that happens in your body. Okay. 27, cold thermogenesis shrinks the respiratory proteins closer together. Okay. And makes the electrons we eat from food more efficient because you get more energy, more oxygen. And cold thermogenesis will be a future webinar. Water is 21 to 24 times more effective than cold air, but cold air still will give you benefit are Zeitgebers, cold and light, or temperature and light. Okay. Cold thermogenesis also increases your magnetism. Okay. So if you do get cold, you want to be exposed to the sun because that's going to help you absorb more UV light. 28, we are all eutherian mammals, which means we are affected by both light and dark cycles and the cold and warm cycles. We need to eat and live seasonally based on where you live on the globe. 29, mammals. You are a mammal. You should be the fattest in the fall and leanest in the winter. And this is opposite of most humans, especially in the United States. This is a circadian mismatch, and it's why diabetes, obesity is sky high. Okay. Number 30, once your health does reach optimal, and optimal is always striving for more and better, you never peak, you never reach the summit. You feel different when being exposed to bad things. Okay. And I say, I cannot wait to get myself and family out of this hospital. So hospitals are one of the worst places that you can be in. I know they've done studies where they showed that people who spend time in the ICU, their life expectancy is I think a couple 2 to 3 or 4 years shorter than other people's. Okay. But yeah, once you start getting this and you get your redox up and you get your circadian rhythm mechanism intact, things that are supposed to help you don't help you as much. So like I try, like I get these offers all the time, like get this free bottle of this, just pay shipping. Okay. I've done like 3 or 4 of those, don't feel a thing. Where I used to, when I take supplements, oh, I feel good, I feel good, I feel good. It is, but not anymore. Okay. So if your body makes it, you are not supposed to take it, as Jack always says. Number 31, melatonin is first made in the morning via sunlight before UVA or UVB shows up. And that one I think that's wrong. UVA is where we actually make it, but the precursor is the sunrise. So we need the sunrise, then we need the UVA. Okay, so it's like a warm up for your workout. Okay, you wouldn't just jump into your max set. You would do some kind of warm up progression. So sunrise is the warm up progression. UVA is the light that's going to help make the melatonin to help you sleep later on. And remember, UVA is even when UVB is at its most powerful, there's still more UVA than there is UVB out. UVB is when we make vitamin D. 32, melatonin has been shown to directly correlate with the size and shape of your respiratory proteins inside your mitochondria. Therefore, anything that hurts melatonin hurts you. Okay, so blue light destroys melatonin. Non-native EMF destroys melatonin. Okay, that's why it's super important to protect those eyes. Melatonin needs to sense darkness, 4 hours of darkness before you sleep, before it comes out to help you put you into deeper sleep, stages 3 and 4. Okay, most of the melatonin is made in the mitochondria in the gut. So I think it's like 95% made in the gut, and just 5% in the pineal gland. Okay, where everybody thinks that's where it's made. So. 33, if your sleep sucks, then your melatonin is being suppressed and your circadian biology sucks too. Fix that fast or say hello to death. Okay, so sleep is the most important thing we do. All humans, our day starts at 12 a.m. midnight, and we should be asleep for that. So latest bedtime should be 11 p.m. The earlier you can get it within reason, the more benefit that I've heard that you get. So yeah, but darkness is a prerequisite for melatonin coming out. because then if you get exposed to blue light or even green light, or I mean any artificial light, melatonin's going to be destroyed. So you want to protect those eyes, especially after the sun sets. Number 34, everything mentioned 1 through 33, your kids are affected at least 2 times or more. The biggest uptrending cancer is brain cancer, and the biggest uptrending age group is late teens to mid 20s. And I believe the 4 biggest uptrending cancers is brain, thyroid, stomach, and colon. Okay, and the reason is because that's stupid places people put their phones. Okay, obviously you don't put it on the thyroid, but it's right in front of the thyroid, blue light shining on it, EMF emitting to it, all that stuff. And remember, older adults are also affected as well. Okay, I don't think as much as kids because they do have a fully developed brain and whatnot, but everything is on the decline. So they're losing bone mass, losing skull mass. Yeah, everything's on the decline when you are older. Okay, so you have to mitigate the non-native EMF and the blue light even more when you're older. And as you age, you're supposed to get more sunlight, not less. All right, final things here. Any disease doesn't ever just start as a disease. You are presented with a symptom or a host of them. How you deal with those symptoms will determine if you reverse or completely stop the disease process, or it will further propagate the disease process. With the latter, more symptoms will show up and eventually the full-blown disease. I want you to understand with any disease involving the brain or the mitochondria, then at any time you have the chance to die today or tomorrow, especially the older you are. And especially if you're jabbed with the COVID yabba dabba jabba. Our body is a miracle and it wants to survive. Survival is always its #1 priority. That is why it will present you with symptoms rather than just killing you. A lot of people choose to ignore the symptoms until the last minute. Then they expect to go to the doctor to get fixed. That is centralized medicine, and you need to decentralize yourself from that model. Because the traditional form of medicine is not healthcare, it is sick care, and sick care don't care about reversing your disease. All they care about is treating your symptoms. When you treat symptoms, the only thing you are going to get is more symptoms until the body does eventually kill you. Okay? So that is it for the 34 reasons. Send this out to anybody that you feel needs to hear it. And if you do want to work more closely with me, I have a 15-minute free discovery call. You can go to improvementwarriorfitness.com/discovery call and set that up if you want to. But otherwise, don't forget to leave the ratings and reviews. It helps us get this podcast out to more people and builds up the algorithm or whatever, which I don't understand, and all that stuff. So do that. And also, if you do want to support the podcast, you can become a patron on Patreon, improvementwarriorfitness.com/Patreon. And so all the full premium webinars will be up there with any level of Patreon support, or you can become a member of Improvement Warrior University Premium. That's where I post all my writings. Most of my courses are going to be up there, and all of the premium webinars are up there, and the free ones as well. So that's improvementwarriorfitness.com/IWU. But otherwise, make it a great day. Get some sunshine, get some grounding, get some DHA, and feed your mind. Read something positive, listen to something positive, put something positive in your brain. If something negative comes in, a person, a thing, walk away or put a block on them, and yeah, positivity. Get it. Love yourself, and that's it. Stay strong, stay positive, be the improvement warrior.